These pint-sized performers were undeniably cute and precocious as child stars tend to be. But they've grown up to become unrecognizably gorgeous, transforming into action stars, musicians, and everything in between. Jonathan Lipnicki rose to fame as the adorable bespectacled kid in 1996's Jerry Maguire.
Are you a football player?
Am I a football player? I'm a school teacher about to whomp your ass. Put Jerry Maguire on the phone.
He also appeared in Like Mike and the Stuart Little movies. But he struggled with his stardom during his teen years. Though he's consistently landed roles since his child acting days, being a famous kid was rough for the young star. As he revealed on Instagram, "As a kid/teen, I was made fun of relentlessly by some people. I was told I was a has-been and would never book a job again. I was made to feel like garbage every day of middle school to the point where I had a panic attack every night before school, because I wondered how I would get through the next day." Fortunately, Lipnicki has put his self-doubt behind him, and his brand new confident exterior is unrecognizable from the adorable kid he used to be. Not only is he still acting, but he's also managed to become a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and has some major muscles to show off from his hard work. And yes, he finally graduated from braces. Josh Peck will probably always be known as a Nickelodeon star. Part of the reason his beloved sitcom Drake and Josh worked so well was because Peck was the polar opposite of his co-star Drake Bell. While Bell played a smooth-talking, ultra-attractive ladies' man, Peck was the chubby, nerdy brother, but oh how the tables have turned. Since the early days of Drake and Josh, Peck has lost about 110 pounds, while Bell has navigated bankruptcy and DUI charges. In a 2008 interview with Parade, Peck admitted, "I always had a weight issue since I was a young kid. I just realized that I was not really happy, and I decided to become healthy. Hopefully I will be able to keep it off."
The dream is to whip off my shirt and have like just a 4-pack I'd be okay with, a 2-pack even a dad bod.
These days, Peck is less of a nerdy sidekick and more of an actual star. His YouTube channel has more than 3 million subscribers. And he's racked up plenty of credits in TV shows and indie films. He's also come a long way from chasing Mindy Crenshaw on TV, as he's grown up and gotten himself a wife and a kid. Long live Neville Longbottom, the Harry Potter underdog who taught us that you don't always need to be brave to be a hero. Matthew Lewis started playing the nerdy Gryffindor when he was just 11 years old. By the second film in the series, he was already fighting with puberty to keep his childish looks. It didn't work, and his intimate, years-long relationship with the fat suit began. As he revealed to the AV Club, he lost weight and thought his part might be recast. Instead, he kept the role and had to deal with the fat suit, false teeth, and false ears.
He lost the fat suit went. We figured that he'd been living underground, so he's not eating too well.
Lewis was eventually able to reveal his slim figure in public. He looked almost nothing like his former self. But everyone has to grow up and graduate from Hogwarts eventually. His transformation was so astounding that BuzzFeed coined the term Neville Longbottoming to describe when puberty gives someone a major glow-up. The unlikely Harry Potter hero has gone on to strut his stuff in shirtless magazine spreads that show off his six-pack. We never thought we'd see Neville in his underpants, but here we are. Most people who saw 2002's The Ring have the footage from the creepy VHS tape permanently burned into their brains. The image of Samara crawling out of the TV is still absolutely terrifying more than a decade later. But as it turns out, Samara actually isn't all that scary in real life. Instead, she's all grown up and totally gorgeous. Before The Ring, Devay Chase had some minor TV parts and provided the voice of Lilo in Lilo and Stitch. After playing the creepy undead tween, she ditched the long black locks and starred on HBO's Big Love. She's still acting, and she's also perfected the art of the Instagram model shot. In 2017, she had a brush with the tabloids when she was arrested after allegedly dumping a dying man outside of a hospital. According to TMZ, she wasn't a suspect and was merely trying to help the man, who died of a possible overdose, but she did have an outstanding warrant at the time. She was arrested again in 2018 for misdemeanor possession of a controlled substance. Most audiences first saw Abigail Breslin as the unlikely beauty queen in Little Miss Sunshine. Olive Hoover was an icon of self-love and oversized glasses and sweatbands. As it turns out, the actress isn't too far off from her character in real life as an adult. She's still smashing Hollywood's beauty norms and has spoken out publicly about the subject. In 2015, after some people posted negative comments about photos of Selena Gomez, Breslin responded with a Tumblr post. She declared, "How are young girls supposed to grow up normally and not feel bad about themselves and not develop eating disorders if it's literally national headline news that a thin girl may or may not have put on a few pounds, and yet still remains thin?" Breslin doesn't just spend her days smashing the patriarchy and defying beauty norms. She's still acting, including a high-profile series regular role on the horror comedy show Scream Queens. She also released a biting breakup song called You Suck in 2014 that sent 5 Seconds of Summer fans into a frenzy, as the inspiration for the song was reportedly that band's lead guitarist Michael Clifford. Before Sia enlisted Maddie Ziegler to play a miniature version of herself, Allison Stoner was the original music video dancing tween. She first rose to fame in multiple Missy Elliott clips, including Work It and I'm Really Hot. That success led to roles in flicks like Cheaper by the Dozen and the Step Up series. But growing up in the spotlight wasn't easy for her. As she told Romper in 2019, "The machine is not really designed for overall human health. It chews us up and spits out. And we stay because we hope to raise and inspire other people and create impactful material. But ultimately, the chaos and the daily fear of being unemployed over and over again, and the highs and lows and the volatility of it all, is not for the faint of heart." Perhaps as a result of that experience, Stoner ended up firing her TV and film team to focus on her music career. As an adult, she looks almost nothing like the pigtailed little girl she used to be. And in 2018, she revealed another big transformation. In a Teen Vogue op-ed that detailed her difficulty with coming to terms with her own orientation, she revealed, "I, Allison, am attracted to men, women, and people who identify in other ways. I can love people of every gender identity and expression." Nicholas Hoult has come a long way since starring alongside Hugh Grant in 2002's About a Boy. He's not just a boy anymore, though his cobalt blue eyes are the one thing that's never changed. He looks almost nothing like his childhood self, and appropriately enough, he's gone on to embark on his most important role yet, fatherhood. In January 2019, he told the Evening Standard, "Having a baby puts you in this place where you go, oh, okay, this human is going to change a lot. It makes you value time differently, which is why I talk very quickly in interviews now, because I need to get home to that." Hoult's priorities have obviously changed in adulthood. Beyond being a father, he's also transformed into a full-fledged movie star. After a recurring role in the British teen drama Skins, he was initiated into the X-Men universe as the Big Blue Beast. On top of killing it at the box office, his 2018 period drama The Favorite was nominated for 10 Oscars. If you saw Blake McIver Ewing today, you'd think he was probably a male model. Little would most of us know that he once starred as a nerdy but totally adorable little rascal in the 90s. Specifically, he played bespectacled troublemaker Waldo in 1994's The Little Rascals. He had a bit of a reputation as a childhood antagonist, as he also played Michelle's rival Derek on Full House.
Do people still come up to you wanting you to sing Yankee Doodle Dandy? Constant, yeah.
Though child stardom is notoriously difficult and many former kid actors burn out in a string of DUIs and drug arrests, Ewing doesn't regret a single bit of his past life. As he told Lavender in 2014, "I was one of the lucky ones. I wanted to do it. I wasn't pushed into it. I had parents in the industry who didn't want me to do it. But I pushed and pushed. It afforded me a journey that I wouldn't trade for anything." Ewing has since focused his efforts on music, though it took him years to release an album. He picked up go-go dancing to fund his career rather than crowdsource his music via Kickstarter, which he described as empowering because he realized he was, quote, "comfortable in his own body. It sure doesn't hurt when you've got a six-pack." Cole Sprouse's glow-up is a thing of infamy. It's not very often a star goes from bowl cut to Met Gala in a few short years. He and his twin brother Dylan were like the male version of Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen in the early 2000s. They rose to stardom on Disney's The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, where they hit every awkward puberty mark, punctuated by their unforgivable bowl cuts and Disney wardrobe. After their run with the Mouse House ended, the Sprouses went from the sweet life to the dorm life. Cole told Women's Wear Daily in 2017, "The goal for me to go to college, and my brother as well, was to fade out. It's no new narrative to say that when people get out of child stardom, they oftentimes rebel in very serious ways. I didn't want to make that public spectacle, so part of the reason I went to college was that I wanted to fade out peacefully." But it seems that Cole's plan to avoid fame seems to have reversed itself, as he's completely reinvented himself as a sex symbol on Riverdale, the CW's gritty Archie comics adaptation. The series marked his first role in 5 years, and yes, he finally cut his hair. Isabel Fuhrman pulled off a feat most child stars don't ever accomplish. She jumped into the psyche of a 33-year-old adult who was posing as a child, when she was just a child herself. Discovering that her character Esther was a full-fledged adult and orphan will forever go down as one of the most iconic horror movie moments of the 2000s. But it was challenging for the then 10-year-old star to understand some of the film's adult themes. As she told the 405 in 2018, "Everyone was conscious of the fact that I was a kid and didn't want me to grow up too fast. But I had to understand what it was like to be rejected. I had to understand what it was like to want love so badly that you would do something like that. 10-year-olds just don't think about those sort of things."
I am eating normal.
Yeah, maybe in Transylvania or whatever country you're from.
Incidentally, I'm from Russia. Transylvania isn't even a country. It's a part of Romania.
Fuhrman has, of course, become an actual adult herself. She's since landed roles in films like the Stephen King adaptation Cell and the supernatural horror Down a Dark Hall. She doesn't look anything like the pigtailed nightmare she played as a young kid, but she's every bit as fierce.
Who among us didn't dream of skipping middle school for a chance at fame and fortune? Many of today's richest stars actually started acting as kids, and they kept that cash flow going with long-lasting careers. From hit sitcoms to major movie franchises, these child stars have amassed millions upon millions of dollars. So which celebs are going to make you rethink your life choices or possibly sign your kids up for acting classes? See for yourself. Dakota Fanning. With roughly $16 million to her name, Dakota Fanning easily has the lowest lifetime earnings of her Hollywood peers on this list. Yes, that's still a ton of dough. But over a 20-year career, $16 million actually seems surprisingly low, especially considering her films have grossed more than $1.4 billion at the box office. Even so, for Fanning, acting has never been about the money. Talking to Vogue Australia about how she approaches roles, the starlet explained, "There was just something about the project or about the character that I was like, oh, I want to do that. I want to be the one who gets to say that." Brooke Shields. Already a successful model by the age of 12, Brooke Shields' acting career took off with her controversial starring role in 1978's Pretty Baby. According to People, Shields later earned $300,000 for The Blue Lagoon, which was so successful that she was then able to raise her asking price to $500,000, and this was the early 80s. Shields continued modeling and eventually found success on TV with the hit sitcom Suddenly Susan. These days, Shields has seemingly turned her focus towards motherhood and other pursuits, but she's managed to retain an estimated $25 million of her career earnings. Elijah Wood. At just 8 years old, Elijah Wood's career started with his brief cameo in Paula Abdul's video for Forever Your Girl. Nearly 30 years later, the actor has amassed lifetime earnings of around $30 million. Of course, Wood's most notable gig was when he snagged the lead of the epic fantasy series The Lord of the Rings. It's not clear exactly how much Wood made from his adventures in Middle-earth, although he did tell The Guardian that director Peter Jackson gave him the ring as a keepsake. Frankie Muniz. In 2010, Malcolm in the Middle star Frankie Muniz replied to a random Twitter user's dig at his, quote, awful acting with this sick burn. Yeah, but being retired with $40 million at 19 has not been awful. Good luck moving out of your mom's house before you're 35. Perhaps that's where Celebrity Net Worth derived their figure for the former child star turned race car driver. That's right, Muniz took the leap into professional race car driving in 2006, according to People. In addition to the nice sum of cash he's racked up, Muniz has also accumulated a staggering list of bodily injuries since his career change, so he may have shared a healthy chunk of that $40 million with the ER. Natalie Portman. Oscar winner Natalie Portman earned her stripes at 11 years old with her critically acclaimed role in 1994's The Professional. From there, it was basically nothing but prestige projects for the actress, who also made big bank on blockbusters, like all 3 Star Wars prequels and 2 Thor flicks. In 2015, Portman landed the number 18 spot on Forbes' World's Highest Paid Actresses list with the claim that she made $6 million that year. According to Celebrity Net Worth, years of continuous earnings like that have apparently resulted in Portman having an estimated $60 million on her balance sheet. Kaylee Cuoco. Back in the 90s, you may remember when a young Kaylee Cuoco made an appearance on the teen drama My So-Called Life. Years later, if you're wondering why she's been with The Big Bang Theory since 2007, well, here's our best guess. According to Forbes, Cuoco was the 4th highest paid actress in Hollywood from June 2016 to June 2017, earning a staggering $26 million that year alone. Daniel Radcliffe. Talented British actor Daniel Radcliffe will likely never fully step out of Harry Potter's shadow. But he probably doesn't mind, since the role is essentially responsible for his estimated net worth of $110 million, according to Celebrity Net Worth. This comfortable sum has allowed Radcliffe to spread his creative wings, though perhaps less lucratively. For example, one of the first non-Potter projects Radcliffe took on was the celebrated play Equus. Later on, there was Swiss Army Man, the film where Radcliffe portrays a farting corpse on a deserted island. Any chance they're building a multi-million-dollar toy line around that? Probably not. But it doesn't matter, because even if Radcliffe flushes away 90% of his $110 million, he's still set for life.
Being a child star isn't easy. While some end up with lifelong fame, others get lost along the way and never find their way back. Once upon a time, these child stars had it made. It seemed like the only direction they could go in was up. But then life happened, and they instead faded into the background. Jonathan Lipnicki. Back in the late 90s and early 2000s, you couldn't turn on a family film without seeing Jonathan Lipnicki on your screen. His roles in blockbuster hits like Jerry Maguire and Stuart Little catapulted him into superstardom. And don't even get us started on the little vampire. But not everything was going well for the star.
There was a lot of, bullying I dealt with, and I was definitely dealing with a lot of, and I still to this day, it's a battle, anxiety and depression.
In 2017, Lipnicki revealed on Instagram how bullying led to him ultimately leaving the spotlight. I was told I was a has-been and would never book a job again. I was made to feel like garbage every day of middle school to the point where I had a panic attack every night before school because I wondered how I would get through the next day. It was humiliating. But the actor told E! News that same year that he's managed to quell his attacks with the help of extracurricular activities and therapy, so there's still a chance his career could get back on track in the near future. Fingers crossed. Kyla Pratt. When she was cast as a nerdy preteen in Dr. Dolittle, Kyla Pratt got her big break. The movie was a commercial success and helped springboard her into starring roles in The Proud Family and One-on-One, but she just couldn't manage to build on top of her success. After the Dr. Dolittle sequels weren't exactly successful, she decided to take a break from the spotlight to focus on building a family, but did so entirely in private.
I was doing everything huge. It's just that I just asked people to respect my privacy and not post pictures.
Yes.
And then I'd tell the public when I felt like it.
She opened up about her decision to focus on family life in a 2014 interview with Ebony, telling the publication, "I'm all about your mindset, being focused, staying positive, being optimistic, and knowing that these are all aspects of my life that I love and enjoy. I have to nurture each of those relationships and give those relationships a great amount of time." She could be gearing up for a major comeback though, as she starred in a play adaptation of the 1996 cult classic Set It Off in March 2018, which debuted to favorable reviews. Andrew Keegan. Teen heartthrob Andrew Keegan was everyone's man crush Monday before it was even a thing. But these days, instead of attracting fans, he's attracting converts. Keegan leads a spiritual movement called Full Circle, based in Venice Beach, California. Their reported goal is to promote individuality rather than societal standards. He explained to Vice, "I very much speak what comes through while in the collective. We create a resonance of balance and equality of the crew. When you feel those chakras aligned, there's guided messaging coming in. If there is something of spiritual ego within that, it must not exist." He isn't afraid to poke fun at his new life, however, as evidenced by his 2017 appearance in Hollywood Darlings.
Do you really believe that Joey from 10 Things I Hate About You is going to take us on a spiritual journey?
Tatiana Ali. Thanks to her role as Ashley Banks in the hit TV show The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Tatiana Ali was poised for superstardom back in the 90s. Her time on the show even launched her into a successful singing career. But when the show finished, the demand for Ali dwindled, so she opted to pursue education instead. She graduated from Harvard University in 2002 with a degree in Afro-American history and government. After taking an interest in politics, Ali went on to travel the United States for Barack Obama's 2008 presidential campaign. Ali also reemerged for BET's series Second Generation Wayans in 2013, but her comeback was cut short as the show was canceled after the first season. However, she appears to be doing just fine without the spotlight these days. She married Stanford University English professor Von Raspberry in 2016, and the pair welcomed their first child that same year. Jaleel White. After Family Matters wrapped in 1998, Jaleel White's career faltered. Although he returned to television just a year later for UPN's comedy series Grown Ups, the show received poor reviews and was canceled just a year later. Fans presumably just didn't want to see White star as anyone other than Steve Urkel, the googly-eyed nerd that pretty much stole every scene in Family Matters. Even so, White made it clear that he wouldn't be picking up another role that was similar to the one that made him famous, telling a reporter when the show wrapped, "If you ever see me do that character again, take me out and put a bullet in my head and put me out of my misery." White once again attempted a television comeback with 2017's Me, Myself, and I, but that series was also canceled after just one season. Frankie Muniz. Malcolm in the Middle star Frankie Muniz was forced to take a hiatus from Hollywood after suffering from an unexplainable string of strokes. In a 2017 interview with People, the actor described his health struggles. "First, I lose my peripheral vision, and I can see people but I can't recognize them. I can see words but I can't tell what they say. Then I start going numb. It's a gross feeling, but I know now when it's going to come. I usually go lay down and wait for it to be over." Noting that he'd had nearly every test performed by neurologists, he continued, "I have no answers as to why it happens. I got so tired of trying to find an answer that I don't think I'll search for an answer anymore. I've accepted it." The former child star hasn't let it damper his dreams of getting back to work though. And with such a positive outlook, who knows? He could be back on the big screen in no time.
The curse of being a child celebrity is well known. Some of these fallen child stars stayed around long past their 15 minutes, even after most everyone else had moved on. These are the child stars who haven't figured out they aren't famous anymore. Corey Feldman's unwillingness to leave the spotlight has been apparent for years, and the star of The Goonies has long been a recurring pop culture joke. He became one of the first washed-up celebrities to reinvent himself with reality TV, only to become something of a pariah after his alienating behavior on The Surreal Life in 2003 and The Two Coreys in 2007. But that didn't deter Feldman in the slightest, because he's also an author and musician, leaving him endless opportunities to pivot to his next public embarrassment, like his back-to-back Today Show performances of his songs Go For It and Take a Stand. After the first performance was universally mocked, it only took a month for him to return to the show with a second, even more baffling performance, complete with a controversy over him throwing an American flag on the floor. In March 2020, Feldman released an autobiographical documentary about his career as a child actor. In it, Feldman digs into shocking Hollywood accusations made, opening up about his own experiences. Following the premiere, he shared that he went into hiding after the film's release due to attacks from people trying to silence him. Although people think Tara Reid got her start in American Pie, she'd actually been acting for years before that. In fact, her first TV appearance was on a 1982 game show called Child's Play, where she actually predicted her famous future. But somewhere in between the second and third American installment, her career stalled. Then it lurched into the strange realm of campy sci-fi with the seemingly endless Sharknado franchise.
Something's on my foot! Vivi! Help me! Vivi! Put down!
She's also flexed the diva muscle usually reserved for stars who haven't been photographed drunkenly stumbling in and out of clubs for years. Reid walked out of an interview on Jenny McCarthy's SiriusXM radio show after being asked apparently pre-banned questions about her plastic surgeries and her disastrous appearance on Marriage Boot Camp Reality Stars. She tried to stick to the Sharknado promotion, but things quickly devolved. The tense exchange ended with Reid and McCarthy taking digs at each other's marriages and bodies, with McCarthy getting the last zinger when she asked, "Love you, Tara. Good luck with Sharknado 18." By his own admission, the career of Danny Bonaducci went basically nowhere after the Partridge Family. In his autobiography, Random Acts of Badness, My Story, he calculates that between the years of 1974 and 1988, he only worked for a total of 20 weeks. Then he got into radio and eventually became a reality TV mainstay after Breaking Bonaducci, the show that actually followed the collapse of his marriage and a drug relapse. Now he's a wacky AM drive time DJ for a radio station in Seattle, and he's been popping up all over the media to first stick his nose into former co-star David Cassidy's struggle with dementia, and then to make some seemingly unnecessary claims about him after he died in November 2017. Bonaducci alleges he and Cassidy were great friends ever since the Partridge Family ended, and yet seemed to have no idea he had dementia. There was almost no one cooler than Mike Seaver in the 80s, but by the time Growing Pains came to an end in 1992, Kirk Cameron was more than done playing him. At some point, Cameron had a religious awakening that caused him to object to racy content being written for his character, which by his own admission caused serious problems for the production. And while there's nothing wrong with openly practicing one's faith, Cameron has found himself in trouble a few times, particularly after his remarks about gay marriage during an interview with Piers Morgan. But Cameron seemingly couldn't care less that Hollywood was turning against him. However, in the past 10 years, he's done only a handful of feature-length and short films, as well as a game show on Facebook Live. He's even resorted to selling online marriage counseling courses that he teaches with his wife. The kid who played Charlie Sheen's nephew on 2.5 Men took his morality crisis even further than Kirk Cameron when he publicly urged people not to watch the show. Jones appeared in a video for a religious organization called Forerunner Chronicles, in which he implored fans to stop watching the show, calling it filth and bad news. Jones even quit the show in 2013 to attend college in Colorado and work in ministry. However, Jones apparently wants back in the fold, at least according to People, who reported he re-caught the acting bug when he showed up for a cameo in the 2.5 Men finale. He claimed that being back on set reignited his passion for acting, and he took a break from college to serve as president of an entertainment company called Tonight. Drake Bell blew up thanks to his starring role in the Nickelodeon series Drake and Josh, and it even looked like he was going to parlay that fame into the mainstream when he managed to land some other mainstream roles. However, much of Bell's early success fizzled. In recent years, he's started gaining notoriety on social media again, but it's hurt him more than helped him. First, Bell came under fire for making seemingly transphobic remarks about Caitlyn Jenner. Bell has also continued to pursue a music career and playing gigs like one at the Northwest School of the Arts in Charlotte, North Carolina, where he had a bit of a viral moment when he stopped the show to scold a kid in the crowd who reportedly threw balls on stage.
No, I need to talk to you. Get out.
Christy Carlson Romano was a star of the Disney Channel in the 2000s, best known for playing Shia LaBeouf's sister on Even Stevens, voicing the title character on animated series Kim Possible, and starring opposite Hilary Duff in Disney Channel original movie Cadet Kelly. However, like so many other Disney kids, she didn't have an easy go of it. In a 2019 essay for Teen Vogue, she wrote about all her struggles, including substance abuse and issues with her relationships. In that piece, Romano wrote, "I was told that leaving Hollywood right after Even Stevens would ruin my career. In retrospect, it probably did, but in my heart, I was running away from the responsibility of fame and toward a glamorized fantasy of adolescence." Now she has parlayed her teenhood stardom into internet persondom. Romano makes videos on YouTube and TikTok where viewers can watch her do things like cook, sing, and hang out with people. In one of her recurring bits, she reacts to Kim Possible episodes as the character Kim Possible. Romano may not be as famous as she once was, but she has clearly found her niche: throwback content for millennials.
Hey, I did it! I just went up 2 levels.
Josh Peck, the other star of Drake and Josh, is not all over Nickelodeon anymore, but he is all over YouTube and social media. Peck joined David Dobrik's Vlog Squad, a cadre of YouTubers that won the Shorty Award for YouTube Ensemble in 2018. When talking about this new chapter in his career at an event at George Washington University, Peck said he felt empowered in being able to interact directly with his audience. Peck's friendship with his former Drake and Josh co-star has been up and down, to say the least. The drama surrounding Peck and Drake Bell's post-show dynamic hit its zenith in 2017, when the former didn't invite the latter to his wedding. The two ultimately reconciled on, where else? YouTube. As you might have deduced, Peck's TV career has changed quite a bit since his days on Drake and Josh and The Amanda Show. In 2015, he starred opposite John Stamos on the sitcom Grandfathered, but it got the axe after 1 season. After that, he had small recurring roles on Pitch and Fuller House. He's also the star of a to-be-released Disney Plus show based on Turner and Hooch. Nickelodeon series Zoey 101 made Britney Spears' little sister a television star, but her time on the small screen was short. In 2008, after just 4 seasons, the show was over, and many assumed its ending had something to do with Jamie Lynn Spears' personal life. Jamie Lynn announced in 2007 that she was pregnant, so when Zoey 101 ended the following year, the masses jumped to conclusions regarding why the hit series was done. However, the star claimed the show had already been set to end, and her pregnancy had nothing to do with it. In 2013, she released her first and only EP, The Journey. Oh, and there was that one time she broke up a fight at a pita pit with a knife. Her acting career does occasionally find some life. Jamie Lynn made her return to the small screen in 2020 in Netflix series Sweet Magnolias, which was picked up for a 2nd season only months after the series premiered. Outside of her own career, she's still related to one of the most famous people on the planet. It's not like she even could fade into total obscurity. According to documents provided to The Blast, Jamie Lynn has been the trustee on Britney's trust since 2018. In 2020, the Los Angeles Times reported Jamie Lynn requested to move the assets with Fidelity Brokerage Services, with her acting as custodian. Hollywood is littered with tragic tales of young actors falling on hard times in adulthood. But while burning out and disappearing is a common script, not every child star follows that path. In fact, there's a good chance you've seen some of them on screen recently without even knowing it. Here are some former child stars you'll barely recognize now. Henry Thomas. Getting your big break in a movie as wildly popular as Steven Spielberg's E.T. comes with certain pressures, and the glare of the media spotlight that followed was too much for this child actor. After making that iconic film, he said, "My world went completely crazy. I was that stupid kind of famous where you can't go anywhere." Thomas more or less went into hiding when the ET craze wore itself out, but once the buzz died down a little, he snuck back into acting with little fanfare, which means you might not have realized that was him strolling with Leo in Martin Scorsese's Gangs of New York, or playing a manipulative child abuser in the Netflix adaptation of Stephen King's Gerald's Game. Most recently, he appeared in a guest role on the critically acclaimed FX series Better Things. Diane Lane. Contemporary movie audiences know Diane Lane as Superman's adoptive mother Martha Kent in the DC movie universe, but her career actually began back in 1979 with a romantic comedy called A Little Romance, in which industry legend Laurence Olivier played matchmaker for Lane and a French boy in Paris. Olivier reportedly called Lane the next Grace Kelly, and she even appeared on the cover of Time magazine, but she never achieved the kind of fame that turns child actors into tabloid headlines. Instead, she worked quietly but continuously in under-the-radar projects right up until a well-deserved Oscar nomination for Unfaithful put her back in the spotlight. Haley Joel Osment. Back in the late 1990s, this young actor answered a casting call for M. Night Shyamalan's The Sixth Sense and ended up saying the most iconic catchphrase in modern horror movie history.
I see dead people.
But after just one other high-profile role in Steven Spielberg's polarizing sci-fi flick AI, Osment fell off the radar and returned to screen about 15 years later looking nearly unrecognizable. Look past the beard, though, and you'll recognize him in Entourage, Kevin Smith's Yoga Hosers, and in a guest role as a wealthy tech mogul Keenan Feldspar on the HBO comedy Silicon Valley. Molly Ringwald. This teen icon rose to prominence as a star of essential 1980s cinema and as a prominent member of the Brat Pack, the group of young actors who dominated Hollywood under the tutelage of director John Hughes. But as the 1990s rolled on, the Pack members struggled to maintain their careers, and by the time Ringwald landed her next notable role, it was as the mother of the kind of character she was once famous for playing. In 2008, she turned up in the teen TV drama The Secret Life of the American Teenager, and in 2017, she jumped to another mom role on the CW's Riverdale.
You know, am I more Betty? Am I more Veronica? What am I going to be like when I grow up? Who am I? And then it turns out I'm Archie's mom.
Anthony Michael Hall. Like Molly Ringwald, this actor starred in both 16 Candles and The Breakfast Club, only to reject parts in John Hughes' next two projects for fear of being typecast as a nerd. But playing a teenage dork is still what the Brat Pack alum is best known for, so you might not have recognized him all grown up and playing TV host Mike Engel in Christopher Nolan's superhero classic The Dark Knight. Since then, Hall has scored minor roles in the Oscar-nominated film Foxcatcher, crime drama Live by Night, and the Netflix original film War Machine. And while he's not as famous as he used to be, he did make headlines in 2017 for felony battery after allegedly assaulting a neighbor, which is one way to escape a reputation as a Hollywood dweeb. Taylor Momsen. If someone asked you what kind of career the adorable little girl from How the Grinch Stole Christmas would grow up to have, rock star probably wouldn't be your first guess. But as the lead vocalist of The Pretty Reckless, Taylor Momsen is definitely going out of her way to show the world that she isn't Cindy Lou Who anymore. Momsen and her band found some major success with their first lead single, Make Me Wanna Die, and their following two albums have been even more well received. And from now on, you're a lot more likely to find her on stage than on screen. Devin Rattray. For those who grew up on 1990s Christmas classics, this actor will always be known as the awful older brother Buzz to Macaulay Culkin's Kevin McAllister in Home Alone. But after playing the bully in two separate films, Devin Rattray labored in obscurity for more than 20 years, only to have a surprise career renaissance as an adult. You might not have known it was him, but the actor has turned up in the action comedy R.I.P.D., the critically acclaimed indie thriller Blue Ruin, and the Oscar-nominated Nebraska. And most recently, he's scored a recurring role as Tinfoil Kevin in Amazon's superhero satire The Tick. Ralph Macchio. In the 1980s, this young actor scored the role of Daniel LaRusso in The Karate Kid, which is still the role he's most famous for. But while he worked almost entirely under the radar for the next several decades before landing his next high-profile project, this is one child star you might actually recognize, because Ralph Macchio doesn't age.
Why don't you come back when you turn 18, okay?
You know, I'm 48 years old!
Macchio popped up in Entourage in 2005 and again in the 2012 biopic Hitchcock. But as of 2017, he's taking it back in time to the 1970s with a supporting role in HBO's gritty period drama, The Deuce.
90s kids know Larisa Oleynik as the superhuman star of The Secret World of Alex Mack and Bianca from 10 Things I Hate About You. But as the decade concluded, so too did this former child star's fame. So what happened? This is why Hollywood won't cast Larisa Oleynik anymore. It took years for Larisa Oleynik to snag a main part in TV and movies after her initial success as a young actress. According to Entertainment Weekly, this former Nickelodeon star instead guest starred on shows like Psych, Without a Trace, and the wildly successful Mad Men, where she played Ken Cosgrove's fiancé. Regarding her bit part on Mad Men, she told AMC.com, "I'm such a nerd for the show, and obviously I've done a lot of TV guest work, but this is the first time I've gone into a show just being such a huge fan and having seen every single episode." In 2011, she also snagged a recurring role on Hawaii Five-0 as Jessica Kay, then appeared on Pretty Little Liars the following year. And in 2016, she landed an episode of Law & Order Special Victims Unit opposite stars Mariska Hargitay and Ice-T. Those were all pretty good gigs, but they ultimately didn't lead to any dazzling opportunities. Perhaps Oleynik was content with guest starring roles and didn't want to dive back into being a full-time Hollywood celebrity. Or maybe her attempts to get back in the limelight just haven't been working in her favor. Regardless, she did tell AMC.com that after spending a long time trying to establish herself as an adult actor post-90s fame, being recognized for her role on Mad Men really boosted her confidence. Fame hasn't always been easy for Larisa Oleynik. She doesn't necessarily need constant security like Taylor Swift, but the former child star is still a 90s icon, and that sort of fandom can get fierce. In 2012, The Secret Life of Alex Mack lead saw a scary side of fame when crazed fans started stalking and harassing her. According to the report, Oleynik's stalker, Josh Hathaway, changed his name to Josh Oleynik in 2010 after becoming obsessed with the star. But the harassment didn't start until 2 years later. Hathaway began repeatedly calling Oleynik's mother and leaving gifts for the 10 Things I Hate About You starlet at her mom's apartment. This reportedly included leaving a voicemail where he admitted he had changed his name and wanted to propose to the actress. Hathaway also allegedly wrote books and love letters with disturbing passages. Yikes. Oleynik was, of course, concerned, and she admitted she was worried he might snap at any moment. A judge ultimately granted the actress and her mother a restraining order that expired in January 2016. That kind of ordeal could certainly drive an actress underground. If you haven't seen Larisa Oleynik lately, it may be because she's hiding out in the world of indie films. Though 2019's tech-themed Augie was a critical success, racking up an 80% from critics on Rotten Tomatoes, her other flicks haven't really had the same sort of critical acclaim. It's not that they were bad, they were just largely ignored by the press. Films like OJ, the musical, and BFFs received audience ratings of more than 80% on the site, but had no critical consensus whatsoever. Part of Oleynik's disappearance from the spotlight also has to do with the fact that she's picked up roles in the horror and sci-fi worlds. These genres are unfortunately largely shunned by mainstream critics and usually go straight to video on demand. This includes Jezebel, which received extremely poor critical ratings, and Atlas Shrugged Part 2, which was so heavily scorned by critics that producers eventually had to crowdsource in order to finance subsequent movies.
I am literally freaking out over here.
Despite her roles in these thrillers, Oleynik isn't the biggest horror flick fan. Though she starred in 2017's Animal Among Us, the actress told Morbidly Beautiful, "I pretty much steer clear of horror movies. I'm into vampire and werewolf stuff, things that are more mythology-based. But no, as far as horror movies go, I watched Scream and that's as close as I've gotten." Lifetime's made-for-TV movies are often stereotyped as a place for thespians whose careers are on the way out, like fellow child star Tia Mowry, who starred in a couple of films for the network. Larisa Oleynik's career has lasted long enough to endure a Lifetime holiday movie or two. May she find solace in whatever support group Ashanti currently frequents. Wish Upon a Christmas, which premiered in 2015, tells the story of an actuary who heads to her hometown to close down a factory and, shockingly, runs into her high school sweetheart. Don't they always? This TV movie received a 0% audience rating on Rotten Tomatoes, but hey, Lifetime Christmas movies are an acquired taste. Beyond Oleynik's Christmas movie debut, the actress appeared in another Lifetime movie called Stolen from the Womb. This 2014 made-for-TV movie is exactly the type that made the network famous, as it involves a psychotic stalker, a pregnant woman, and a kidnapped newborn. What more could any Lifetime fan want? Though the actress enjoyed some of the trappings of fame, it seems like living a normal life was always a priority for the star. In a 2017 interview with BuzzFeed, the actress revealed that Nickelodeon pushed for their child actors to lead regular lives. But this became more difficult as The Secret Life of Alex Mack gained popularity. Being recognized made Oleynik self-conscious. As a kid, she was constantly shuttled back and forth from Northern California, where she went to school, to Southern California, where she would shoot the show. She told Morbidly Beautiful, "I was trying to maintain some sense of normalcy, whatever a normal childhood even means, but it would get confusing sometimes when I'd be hanging out with my friends and someone would recognize me." The Secret World of Alex Mack was never canceled. It was Oleynik who chose to walk away after the show's 4th season in 1998. She told BuzzFeed that it was instilled in her from an early age to not feel pressured into doing what didn't make her happy. Walking, or turning into a puddle and sliding, away from Alex Mack had huge implications, and Oleynik turned down a massive offer that probably could have changed her life. According to HuffPost, co-creator Thomas Lynch tried to woo the then-teenager and her team with a fancy Hollywood dinner, where he offered her a 5th season, a feature film, and a ton of money to stay on. She was not swayed and still has no regrets. She told BuzzFeed, "It was an incredible thing he was offering me, and I knew that at the time, but I was a little burnt out." Oleynik took a detour to college after filming 10 Things I Hate About You, which could have been the one role that catapulted her career into a string of blockbuster hits, or at least popular rom-coms that don't air on Lifetime. Nonetheless, this decision was built into the very fiber of her being. Her parents, both medical professionals, always put a strong emphasis on education, so Oleynik ended up applying to college alongside her 10 Things I Hate About You co-stars Julia Stiles and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who both ended up going to Columbia University while Oleynik settled on Sarah Lawrence, which was ironically referenced in the film.
Honey, that's great, but isn't Sarah Lawrence on the other side of the country?
Thus the basis of its appeal.
While obtaining her degree, the star all but forgot about acting and only occasionally went to auditions. She even considered quitting acting cold turkey. At the time, it felt like Oleynik was perpetually being typecast as the girl next door. Though she said that there are worse things in this world, she claimed that Sarah Lawrence helped her get out of that hole. She told E! News, "If you're really determined to take on different things, you can always find a way." Of course, Oleynik didn't stay away from acting forever, and she's since returned to her theatrical roots. According to BuzzFeed, the actress started her acting career at the age of 8 with a San Francisco production of Les Miserables. That's where she met Ryder Strong, known for his role on Boy Meets World. Years before they shared their first kiss on the series, Oleynik decided to follow Strong's lead by picking up the same agent and acting coach, ditching the theater, and heading out with his family to auditions in Los Angeles. The rest, as they say, was history. However, Oleynik made her come back to the stage as an adult with Baghdaddy, an off-Broadway musical. She first appeared in the 2015 production at the Actors Temple Theater and later performed in a 2017 production at St. Luke's Theater. At the time, she told BuzzFeed the show was a huge and energetic commitment, so she felt like she couldn't focus as much on furthering her Hollywood career until the musical ran its course. At one point in the 90s, Oleynik's star power was undeniable. At the height of her fame, Nickelodeon was in the heyday of Snick, and The Secret World of Alex Mack was on its way to becoming a full-fledged classic, like All That or The Adventures of Pete and Pete. Coincidentally, Oleynik also made appearances on those shows, as well as The Babysitter's Club, Boy Meets World, and Third Rock from the Sun. Since Oleynik had her hand in some of the projects that defined the era, you'd think she'd get stuck in a classic child star rut, unable to escape any of her hyper-recognizable characters. But that doesn't seem to be the case for Oleynik. Instead, she embraced it. She told E! News, "That decade resonates with me pretty heavily. Everything in my life is like a throwback to the 90s, including all my musical preferences and wardrobe. It's like I've pretty much been living there ever since." It doesn't seem like Oleynik ever worried about getting with the times, which could have affected the type of roles she was offered. Even today, she still wears some of Alex Mack's wardrobe staples, which she took home after the series wrapped. Larisa Oleynik became famous in an era where actors could walk off their sets and stay relatively anonymous. Her work didn't follow her home because, at the time, most of her fans hadn't even yet learned how to code HTML on their Neopets pages. There was no Twitter, no Instagram, and Perez Hilton had yet to usher on the nastiness that was pretty much patented by tabloids in the early aughts. She noted, I was able to completely remove myself and just go on with my regular kid life. Even as social media started becoming more influential, Oleynik didn't spend a lot of time nurturing the type of online fan base that commonly helps celebs become A-listers today. She Instagrams sporadically, and her Twitter account isn't verified. She hasn't even tweeted to her less than 10,000 since 2019. It's not even clear if the barely updated page on Facebook that's listed under her name belongs to her. Oleynik is self-admittedly still trying to figure out how to live a life that solicits constant public scrutiny. However, she's glad that social media didn't exist when she was doing press as a young actress. She commends young stars who navigate it with ease today. As of 2020, Oleynik has officially made the transition from Girl Next Door to the Mom Zone. The actress made her Netflix series debut as a mom in The Healing Powers of Dude, but she's trying her best not to get stuck in another typecasting hole. She told E! News, "Even if I'm saying I'm in the mom zone right now, but I'm very happy to be there, then I can take it upon myself to go do play or even just being in class where I get to explore other roles." Unfortunately for Oleynik, Hollywood's notorious problem with ageism might make that difficult. As of 2020, Oleynik is nearing age 40, which is often described as the sunset year for female actresses. According to the Washington Post, women in Tinseltown celebrating their 40th birthday can look forward to losing access to about 3/4 of the leading film roles for women.
Why just say it like that?
It's unclear how Oleynik's career will play out in the future, but there is one mom role she probably won't reprise. There have been talks of an Alex Mack reboot, where Mack is a mother whose children may or may not have her powers. However, Oleynik didn't seem excited when she discussed the idea with E! News, so we'll just have to wait and see what happens. What does it take to become a successful YouTuber? For a few lucky kids, the answer is as simple as baking pizza emoji cookies. Whether reviewing toys, concocting hammy skits, or tasting candy, a shocking number of children and their enterprising parents are making millions on YouTube. For Ryan, playtime has become quite the payday. In September 2016, The Verge called him YouTube's biggest star. His channel features him playing with dominoes, assembling DIY candy dispensers and soda fountains, and hiding inside his pretend playhouse. In October 2018, Ryan even became a toy himself. A 2018 video featuring him searching Walmart for his namesake toy collection racked up 10 million views in a month's time. The boy proudly told the Chicago Tribune that lots of fans wanted to take his picture that day, and then he cut the interview short to go and play.
Look at that, Ryan. Oh, these blind bugs too.
Ooh.
How's your face in it?
Face on the package.
Though his parents prefer keeping Ryan's earnings private, Forbes reports he made approximately $11 million in pre-tax income in 2017. Jillian McLaughlin and her little sister Addie became YouTube famous by eating candy. It's nice work if you can get it. Their channel Baby Teeth 4 features the girls reviewing their combined weight in goopy delights, from astronaut ice cream to gummy pizza.
I usually avoid the crust on gummy pizzas because they're banana.
These days, the channel's focus has broadened to incorporate toy reviews, comedy skits, and epic mini-movies, all produced by their dad, Bob. In 2016, TubeFilter profiled the sisters in YouTube Millionaires, a column that covers influencers who recently crossed the 1 million subscriber mark. Jillian was clearly delighted, mentioning how happy she was to know that people are watching their videos and that she hopes they make everybody smile. Their dad has mentioned how he hopes that the channel gives them the idea that they can create things instead of just being passive viewers. In January 2016, the Daily Dot hailed Evan of EvanTube HD as YouTube's youngest millionaire. Born in 2005, he knows his way around droid inventor kits, magic wands, and Kinder Surprise eggs. According to Business Insider, he makes roughly $1.3 million a year with his channel, which focuses on toy reviews, challenges, and science experiments. Not coincidentally, Evan's dad Jared manages a video production company, which accounts for EvanTube HD's slick production values. In 2013, Jared told Newsweek that they employ a dedicated sales team to negotiate the business side of things. Meanwhile, Evan wasn't altogether aware of his own celebrity status, as he goes about his days like a normal grade schooler.
Coconut? Tastes like cherry cola right here. Oh yeah, that's cherry cola.
Every bite is a unique flavor.
That's kind of cool if you think about it.
After Maddie B's cover of Justin Bieber's Eenie Meenie went viral in 2010 when he was 7, the Georgia-born rapper successfully parlayed online fame into genuine celebrity. He's even already penned a memoir called That's a Rap. Born Matthew David Morris in 2004, Maddie B also writes and performs original songs such as Friend Zone and Life is Unfair, which you can check out on his official YouTube page, Maddie B Raps. Unfortunately, no one finds fame and fortune on the internet without being verbally abused. His cover of the notorious B.I.G.'s Juicy caused an online furor, with commentators calling him a spoiled little kid. For what it's worth, Matty B takes the haters in stride, and it surely helps that his net worth is estimated to be approximately $3 million. In less than 3 years, pint-sized Australian baker Charlie and her younger sister Ashley managed to create what the Daily Mail called YouTube's largest food channel. Charlie's crafty kitchen reportedly averaged roughly 29 million views and over $120,000 in revenue every month in 2015. That adds up to more than $1 million annually.
Wishy washy, washy washy, turn the dishes over. Easy to fix.
The sisters rake in the dough by whipping up treats such as cookie dough ice cream, Frozen-inspired popsicles, and grape caterpillar and apple turtle fruit snacks. By 2017, the sisters were already diversifying. Their animated online show Crafty Kingdom chronicles the misadventures of princesses Charlie and Ashley as they bounce through their candy kingdom, baking all the while. But after pouring most of their energy into a new channel called The Kelly Sisters in 2017, Charlie and Ash appear to be on an indefinite break. British tween Ethan of Ethan Gamer made his fortune by playing Minecraft and Pokémon, unboxing toys and games, and reviewing toys and candy. His YouTube channel began as a collaboration between him and his father Kevin, who has explained that people like to watch Ethan because he's a funny guy. Apparently, he's also a wealthy guy, as his net worth is estimated to be in the millions. In November 2018, the young star played Fortnite with some carefully chosen fans. Any unlucky fans who didn't make the cut that day probably cheered themselves up at the Ethan Gamer store, where you can buy official merch like the Believe in Yourself t-shirt and the Lit hoodie.
Fred Savage was the sitcom epitome of the clean-cut American boy, so you may be shocked to learn why, as an adult, he was fired from the reboot of The Wonder Years. Still, he wasn't the only former up-and-comer with a surprising future. Soleil Moon Frye is most famous for her lead role in the NBC sitcom Punky Brewster, which ran for 4 seasons in the 1980s. The series follows a quirky young girl who finds herself abandoned in a supermarket only to discover a new family of her own. Frye was practically born into the spotlight. Her father was a successful character actor, and she made her first on-screen appearance at age 6. Though her mother told the Washington Post that they didn't push Frye into acting, growing up as the face of a popular sitcom took its toll on Frye. The star directed and produced her own 2021 documentary Kid 90, which documented her struggles with growing up in public life. Footage pulled from Frye's personal archives depicted drug use, mental health issues, and how her first sexual experience was with an older Charlie Sheen. Frye told People, "I think it's fascinating to be able to go back and have a true chronological blueprint of what it was to grow up as a teenager in the 90s. That same year, she made a return to television in a Punky Brewster revival series on Peacock. The series followed the former orphan years later as she tackled the day-to-day challenges of being a single mom to 3 children. Unfortunately, the revival was canceled by the streaming service after just 1 season. Melissa Gilbert may have made her mark on the acting world in her starring role in the NBC series Little House on the Prairie, but her impressive resume also includes being a television director, producer, and politician. Famous for playing Laura Ingalls from 1974 to 1983, Gilbert went on to become Screen Actors Guild president, serving from 2001 through 2005. Gilbert told Page Six that her 2011 divorce from ex-husband Bruce Boxleitner was a major wake-up call. "It was like I lost my mind." She ultimately met her now husband Timothy Busfield a year later, and the pair moved to rural Michigan. She told Good Morning America,
"I had to get out of Los Angeles to actually age, which I wanted to do."
In 2015, Gilbert ran for Congress in Michigan, but eventually was forced to withdraw her bid on the advice of doctors due to the lingering effects of a serious accident she had in 2012. In 2022, she released her second memoir, Back to the Prairie, A Home Remade, A Life Rediscovered. Danica McKellar made a name for herself as a child star with her role as Winnie Cooper in the sitcom The Wonder Years, which debuted in 1988 and ran for 6 seasons. The actor went on to appear in several television and film projects during her career, including a variety of voiceover work for animated shows and even a stint on season 18 of Dancing with the Stars. Plus, she earned a degree in mathematics from the University of California, Los Angeles, where she graduated summa cum laude. Her prowess in mathematics even led to her proving her own mathematical theorem, and she released her first book, Math Doesn't Suck, which was followed up by 10 more books aimed at helping children and teens succeed in math.
Math actually sort of saved me from the whole child star thing.
But the mathematician hasn't left her acting chops behind. In 2021, the star landed a multi-film deal with Great American Family, which includes the 2023 installment of the film Royal Christmas Ball. McKellar not only stars in the film, but she also co-wrote and executive produced the project. She wrote on Instagram, "I'm feeling so grateful for this experience of shooting my latest movie. 1 week down, 2 to go. Hard work, but just so gratifying." Joey Lawrence skyrocketed to fame with his role on NBC's Gimme a Break from 1983 to 1987. In the early 90s, he went on to play the character of Joey in the TV series Blossom, and he also starred in Brotherly Love alongside his real-life brothers Matthew Lawrence and Andrew Lawrence. He continued to act as an adult, finding love with his third wife Samantha after the two both starred in the Lifetime film My Husband's Secret Brother in 2021. The two tied the knot in California a few years later. He told People, "When you meet the right person, if you're lucky enough, it cuts to the chase so quick. I have somebody who is like-minded and has the same love language, and we communicate the same way. That's super important, and I am so thankful." The happy couple welcomed their first child together, daughter Dylan Rose, in January 2023. In an Instagram post, Joey celebrated her arrival, writing, "Mom, Dad, and big sisters are all so smitten with you, sweet girl. We welcomed her into this world with the most amazing midwife. Everyone is happy and healthy, and we are overjoyed with gratitude." Rick Schroeder starred in several television series and films in the early 1980s before his role as Ricky Stratton in Silver Spoons landed him on the map. He's continued to act over the years with notable roles in NYPD Blue and the hit series 24. But aside from his presence on screen, Schroeder is known for his controversial right-wing political opinions. In 2021, for instance, he urged customers to boycott Costco because he didn't think people should have to wear masks. And in 2020, Schroeder reportedly contributed hundreds of thousands of dollars to the bail fund for Kyle Rittenhouse, who killed 2 men during a protest but was controversially cleared of charges. Fred Savage is best known for playing Kevin Arnold in The Wonder Years in the late 80s. The actor also starred in The Princess Bride and Austin Powers in Goldmember, among other things. But in 2022, while directing the ABC reboot of The Wonder Years, several women accused him of misconduct, alleging he verbally harassed women on set and even assaulted a crew member. Savage was let go by the network following the claims. It isn't the first time Savage has been under fire for such allegations. In 1993, a crew member in costume design on The Wonder Years sued the actor for sexual harassment in a case that was later settled. He was also accused of verbal assault by a woman working on Fox's The Grinder, which aired from 2015 to 2016, but the case was also settled. According to The Hollywood Reporter, crew members of the new Wonder Years alleged that Savage had 2 sides to him: a likable director who got along well with cast members, and an angrier side that was often shown to crew members in lower-level positions. Kirk Cameron's acting career took off when he starred in Growing Pains in the late 1980s as Mike Seaver. His success on the sitcom led to his own solo show in 1995, Kirk, which lasted 2 seasons. He's continued to act throughout the years, but has mostly stuck to religion-based projects. The actor was an atheist for years before becoming a Christian. He told Fox News, "I had a problem with pride, and there's no wonder. When you're 17, 18 years old, you're on a popular Hollywood television program, and you have an amount of money and popularity and influence, it's easy to become prideful, and that it almost took me out." That's not the only pride he reportedly has a problem with, though. In 2023, Cameron made headlines ahead of LGBT Pride Month when he went on a nationwide tour promoting his book, Pride Comes Before the Fall, telling Fox News, "With a nation that is so saturated with the idea that pride is a good thing, the Bible warns us that pride is the deadliest of the 7 deadly sins." This is not new, as Cameron has a history of making controversial statements condemning homosexuality. Lisa Bonet is often remembered for being a child star on The Cosby Show, depicting Denise Huxtable from 1984 to 1991. In 1987, Bonet married world-renowned musician Lenny Kravitz, and they later welcomed a child together, Zoe Kravitz, who has gone on to become a successful acting star in her own right. Bonet and Kravitz went their separate ways in 1991 and finalized their divorce in 1993. Bonet later met her future husband, Jason Momoa, at a jazz club in 2005, and the two shared 2 children together. The actors tied the knot in 2017, but their 17-year-long relationship ended in 2022. A source revealed to People that the reason for the breakup may have been due to Momoa's busy acting career. Later that year, Momoa shot down rumors of a reconciliation, telling Access Hollywood, "We're not back together, we're family, you know?" Jenny Lewis is widely recognized for her acting work as a child, appearing in shows like The Golden Girls as well as the 1989 film Troop Beverly Hills. But her claim to fame nowadays is her music career, which she started in the early 2000s as a part of the band Rilo Kiley before going on to have a successful solo career. She revealed to KCET that she got into music after being given a mixtape of rap music by fellow child star Corey Haim, but after one brief attempt to rap, decided to stick to guitar.
Somehow the mic got passed to me, and I was freestyling, and Biz Markie was there. And I thought, this is the beginning and the end of my hip-hop career.
Lewis told the Recording Academy that her transition from acting into music was anything but seamless. Being a musician coming out of showbiz, growing up as a child actor, growing up within a family of performers. When I started playing music, I think people were like, "You can't do that. You're an actor. You're a kid actor. You're not allowed to do that." Lucas Haas rose to fame as an actor when he was just a child with his breakout role in the 1985 film Witness. The star has never stepped away from the industry, building a hefty resume in the decades since with dozens of roles in television series and movies. Haas's lifelong career has paid off, and the actor enjoyed prominent performances in two buzzworthy films in 2018, with First Man and Widows. He told Collider, "It's been a great feeling this year. It's pretty amazing because it's hard these days to find a single film that you're going to be proud of, let alone to get cast in it. It's hard to search out those really beautiful movies, and so I'm just incredibly blessed." Tracy Gold became a household name in 1985 when she first appeared as Carol Seaver in the television series Growing Pains. The actor didn't have an easy road growing up in Hollywood, and she's been open about her past experiences with disordered eating. She told HLN,
"It interrupted my life. It changed my life. I mean, I was on a hit TV series. Everything was going great for me, and it really put a stop to it."
In 2011, Gold hosted the Lifetime series Starving Secrets, which featured women receiving treatment for their respective eating disorders. Gold told The Hollywood Reporter, "I always look at the first season of a TV show and see an actress one way, and then in the second season you see her 10 pounds lighter. It's a cycle. I think there's an ongoing problem, not just Hollywood, but also society. It's a widespread problem across the country." Corey Feldman grew up on screen, getting his start at acting at just 3 years old. He subsequently became one of the most prolific child stars of his time, starring in projects like The Goonies, Stand By Me, and The Lost Boys, all before the age of 18. As an adult, Feldman still supports his former castmates. On Instagram in 2023, he shared his delighted live reaction to Goonies co-star Ke Huy Quan winning the Best Supporting Actor Oscar. The star has also used his platform to shine a light on the rampant abuse he claims exists within the industry. In 2020, Feldman made bombshell claims that he and the late Corey Haim both experienced sexual abuse as child actors. The actor additionally accused Charlie Sheen of assaulting a 13-year-old Haim while filming Lucas in 1985. Sheen vehemently denied the allegations. In 2020, Feldman himself was accused of sexual assault by 8 former members of his band, leading to his resignation from the SAG-AFTRA Sexual Harassment Committee. If you or anyone you know has been a victim of sexual assault, help is available. Visit the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network website or contact RAIN's National Helpline at 1-800-656-HOPE-4673.
They were Mouseketeers and vampire slayers, but did they grow up to be homewreckers, cheaters, and killers? Whether they're still truckin' or they got the hell out, these former child stars married other celebs. Justin Timberlake got his start as a Mouseketeer on the new Mickey Mouse Club, before becoming a pop sensation with NSYNC and then a Grammy Award-winning solo artist and actor. Jessica Biel's big break came when she landed Mary Camden on Seventh Heaven. In 2007, Timberlake and Biel went public with their relationship, and 5 years later, they tied the knot. But in 2019, their marriage was put to the test when photos surfaced of Justin in a bar getting handsy with co-star Alicia Wainwright, according to The Sun. Justin quickly apologized to his wife on Instagram, adding, "I am focused on being the best husband and father I can be." And it appears Justin has been fully committed to his family. In 2021, Jessica posted on Instagram, "There is no one I have more fun with, have more laughs with, feel more deeply for, and have more history with." After landing commercial work and small TV gigs, 14-year-old Mila Kunis auditioned for Jackie on That 70s Show. And as she told The Tonight Show, she totally lied and said she was 18.
"We're gonna make love, you idiot!"
All right!
Though they never dated during filming, about 6 years after That 70s Show wrapped, Mila struck up a romance with co-star Ashton Kutcher. They got married in 2015 and became parents to 2 children. So how did Jackie and Kelso end up reconnecting all those years later? As Mila explained to Mark Maron, we were at an award show, and I was backstage. I was looking around, and there was like a really beautiful man from the back. And then he turned around, and I was like, oh my god, it's Kutch. Long-lasting Hollywood couples are extremely rare. But Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr. beat the odds, celebrating their 19th anniversary in 2021. Gellar, who staked her claim to fame as Buffy the Vampire Slayer, made her first movie when she was 6 years old. The two then met on the set of I Know What You Did Last Summer.
We're together because we like each other and we make each other laugh.
5 years later, they got hitched. Sarah Michelle told Us Weekly that the key to a successful relationship involves putting in the effort, adding,
You have to put the work into a relationship. And we live in a very disposable society, and people don't want to have to work. They want immediate reactions. They want immediate responses.
Boasting a powerhouse set of pipes, 13-year-old LeAnn Rimes' rendition of Blue went straight to the top of the charts. With multiple Grammy, CMA, and ACM awards to her name, the star has been selling out stadiums around the world for years. But when LeAnn fell for her co-star Eddie Cibrian on the set of 2009's Northern Lights, things got really messy.
You give a guy good sex and a hot meal, and now he's asking you to marry him.
At the time, LeAnn was married to former backup dancer Dean Shermay, and Eddie was married to Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star Brandi Glanville. After the news of the affair was reported by Us Weekly, LeAnn tried to brush off the rumors, but the cat was already out of the bag. She later recalled to People magazine, I hate that people got hurt, but I don't regret the outcome. After finalizing their divorces, the pair got hitched in 2011. And after more than 10 years together, they still appear to be going strong. To celebrate a decade with her man, LeAnn posted to Instagram, Thank you for being a safe place to finally rest my heart. You are the biggest cheerleader in my life. I look forward to our continued journey. Silver screen icon Natalie Wood will always be remembered for Miracle on 34th Street and her star turn as Maria in the original West Side Story. But her life and legacy were tragically cut short when she mysteriously drowned in 1981 at age 43. It happened on the yacht she shared with then-husband, actor Robert Wagner, who was the last person to see her.
Let's pretend, just for the night, that you're not leaving.
At the time, Natalie's death was ruled an accident, but in 2018, the LA County Sheriff's Department reopened the investigation, and Wagner was named as a person of interest. For now, Natalie's death remains unsolved, but as a lead homicide investigator told The Times in 2020, the case is going to stay open until we find out the truth of what happened. Best known for her role on the 70s sitcom One Day at a Time, Valerie Bertinelli has been a small-screen mainstay for decades, more recently with Valerie's Home Cooking. When the fresh-faced actor married late rock icon Eddie Van Halen, fans were shocked. In her memoir, Enough Already, Learning to Love the Way I Am Today, Bertinelli wrote, We were portrayed as a mismatch, the bad boy rock star and America's sweetheart, but privately, Ed wasn't the person people thought he was, and neither was I.
At first it was real difficult, but now it's still difficult.
The actor and legendary guitarist were reportedly unfaithful to one another, with Valerie telling Today, It was a shame and it was a guilt that I carried with me for a very long time. She also opened up about their drug use, noting that as they filled out marriage paperwork given to them by their priest, they each held a little vial of coke. The couple divorced in 2007. Though they endured a roller coaster of a marriage, the two made amends later in their lives, as Valerie told Today in 2021.
I'm so happy that we were able to come to a beautiful place by the end of his life.
With a starring role in National Velvet, Elizabeth Taylor became MGM's top child star in 1944. This was just the beginning of a storied Hollywood career, which included 5 Academy Awards and 7 husbands, one of which was actor Richard Burton. They were such a good match, they got married and divorced twice.
I think we loved almost too hard.
But when they first met, Liz was married to singer Eddie Fisher, and Richard was wed to Sybil Burton. Of course, the tabloids had a field day with the scandal, but the fire couldn't burn that hot forever. According to the book Furious Love, Liz later recalled, I don't want to be that much in love ever again. I gave everything away. My soul, my being, everything. Melissa Gilbert won the hearts of America playing half-pint Laura Ingalls on Little House on the Prairie. She met her hubby, actor Timothy Busfield, at a bar in 2012, with Timothy telling Michigan Live, I was just going out to get a slice of pizza and a beer and watch sports on TV. Then I saw her smile, and I was gone.
We immediately fell in love. And,
Immediately. A year later, the couple tied the knot in 2013. Gilbert had previously been married to actors Bo Brinkman and Bruce Boxleitner. But Melissa and Timothy seemed to be perfect for each other. In a 2009 Instagram post, Gilbert gushed, "6 years ago today, I married my soulmate. I have never been more content, more cherished, or happier. Every day, even the difficult ones, is filled with a joy I never could have imagined." After Usher discovered him on YouTube, Justin Bieber went on to become one of the world's best-selling recording artists. Previously linked to fellow pop star Selena Gomez, Justin's relationship with Hailey Baldwin began in 2015. They got engaged in July of 2018 and legally married 2 months later, with an official wedding celebration in September 2019.
I think that it was so meant to be.
Though their relationship sounds like the plot to an actual Hollywood fairy tale, Hailey says she's not looking at their union through rose-colored glasses. She explained to Vogue, "I'm not going to sit here and lie and say it's all a magical fantasy. We're going to change a lot, but we're committed to growing together and supporting each other in those changes." In 2021, Justin admitted they definitely had their challenges, but that it all appeared to be worth it. As he told GQ, "My home life was not existing. I didn't have someone to love. I didn't have someone to pour into. But now I have that." Tatum O'Neal became the youngest person to ever snag an Academy Award when she won for 1973's Paper Moon at age 10. The daughter of actor Ryan O'Neal seemed to have a bright future ahead, but drug addiction and drama would haunt her for years to come. In 1984, she connected with tennis megastar John McEnroe, who had become infamous for his on-court temper tantrums. Tatum told 2020 that it was love at first sight, but the relationship quickly blew up and both partners took aim at each other. Tatum claimed John was cruel and violent, alleging he would take out all of his rage onto me.
I was really ready to kind of fall down and not get back up.
John denied he ever struck her, but after 6 years of marriage and 3 children together, the couple divorced in 1994. In his autobiography, You Cannot Be Serious, John alleged of Tatum, "I think she'd realize she was such trouble and so incapable of being the wife that I wanted that eventually I'd be happier with someone else." Corey Feldman started booking commercials at age 3. The actor and producer has appeared in dozens of films and TV shows throughout his decades-long career, but the star made headlines more often for his complicated off-camera life, and that included everything from a difficult childhood to a history of drug abuse. Corey married Beverly Hills 90210 alum Vanessa Marcel in 1989 when they were both teens. As Vanessa told Entertainment Weekly, "It was actually a joke we played on our friends. We were messed up kids, you know? To say that we were really married is completely not true." But Corey has a different take on what went down. In his autobiography, Choreography, the actor described one incident alleging, "Vanessa and I are a wreck, fighting constantly, so I skate back downtown. A bum approaches me and asks me to rent a hotel room. Amazingly, I do. In exchange, he shoots me up. And this is the saddest moment of my life. I lied to Vanessa, let her get swept off her feet by a closet junkie." The duo, who never moved in together, divorced in 1993. Janet Jackson appeared with her brothers, the Jackson 5, and launched her acting career on Good Times. When she was 16 years old, just before her pop superstardom ascent began, along came R&B singer James DeBarge. Jackson recalled in her 2022 documentary, "He was a sweet guy. He was a nice guy." At 18, Jackson secretly married DeBarge, but that sweet guy soon turned sour. On their wedding night, the groom even disappeared for several hours. Jackson said, "Subconsciously, when it comes to relationships, somehow I'm attracted to people that use drugs. I knew that he needed help, but I wasn't the help that he needed."
I was going through a lot with my marriage, and it's not a secret. Everyone knows he had issues at that time with drugs.
The marriage came and went in a matter of months. Brooke Shields became a global sex symbol thanks to her turn in Pretty Baby when she was only 12. Cut to 1993 when the star met tennis superstar Andre Agassi, who went pro when he was just 16 years old. The pair tied the knot 4 years later in 1997. But when Shields guest starred on Friends, things took a turn. After seeing her character lick Joey's fingers, she recalled of Andre in her memoir, There Was a Little Girl. He said, "I made him look like a fool by licking Joey's fingers. And he got in his car and drove all the way to Vegas. Once there, He smashed all of his tennis trophies, destroying them in a rage. Things unraveled even further when Andre revealed that he was using crystal meth throughout their relationship, admitting that he wasn't in the right frame of mind to make the marriage work. Andre told Today, "You need in a marriage two people who understand themselves. And I certainly didn't understand myself."
He did himself in it, but he's not a horrible person.
The pair divorced in 1999. Brooke has been married to producer Chris Henchy since 2001, and Andre married former tennis pro Steffi Graf that same year. If you or anyone you know is struggling with addiction issues, help is available. Please visit the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration website or contact SAMHSA's National Helpline at 1-800-662-HELP 4357.